We just collected over $10,000 in a week from an audience of broke Gen Z kids during a pre-launch offer. Now you can see some of the screenshots up on the screen right now. Now you can pause the video and come back to them if you actually want to take a closer look. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how we did it, because everything you've been told about monetizing broke audiences is completely fucking wrong. Now, quick context, we're in the middle of launching a brand new high ticket offer right now, which is why we actually decided to make this video, because we're literally executing the strategy in real time and the results are proving everything the gurus are teaching you is backwards. Now, if you have an audience that's broke, young, or low quality, and you've been told to launch cheap products, $7 ebooks or $27 mini courses, or low ticket info products as a whole, that advice is going to keep you stuck at $2,000 per month forever. And I'm going to show you exactly why that is wrong, what actually works, and how to rebuild your audience while monetizing it at the same exact time, and not waiting until some mythical future where everyone suddenly can afford your offers, because let's be honest, that's just never going to happen. So to begin, we just did over $10,000 in revenue in the first week of our launch, and our audience is 99% broke Gen Z kids, TikTok brain rot addicts, and chronically online teenagers. The exact demographic every info product guru tells you to avoid. Now, according to conventional wisdom, this shouldn't work, because people say that Gen Z has no money, kids don't buy info products, you need a high income audience to make real revenue. But we just proved that's complete and utter bullshit. And the reason why is going to completely change how you think about audience monetization. Now, before we go into the how, understand we've been in the info space long enough to see the exact patterns. We work with multiple creators. We've launched high ticket and low ticket communities, courses, literally the whole thing. So we know what works and exactly what doesn't. So let's talk about the exact broken model. If you've been in the info space long enough, you've heard this exact same advice. If your audience is broke or low quality, just launch a low ticket product. Make it affordable, $7, $27, maybe $49 max. And that logic does sound reasonable, because broke audiences can't afford expensive stuff. So make it cheap and focus on selling volume. Get 1,000 people to buy a $27 course equals $27,000. And the math does check out, except this really just doesn't fucking work, because broke people don't buy cheap products just because they're cheap. They just will never fucking buy it. But even if they do, nobody tells you about the high churn rate, having to constantly deal with refund requests and third world country leads who feel entitled to get the magic pill for $50. And now you're there stuck trying to sell volume to an audience that won't convert no matter how low you fucking price that shitty offer. So we're going to prove this with a real example. A client of ours, a big audience and a perfect offer, but a complete total failure. And it's going to show you why the low ticket for broke audiences strategy is a complete trap. So to go over the failure case study, we worked with this exact creator. Over 100,000 YouTube subscribers, over 50,000 Instagram followers, consistent views, and good engagement. We ended up launching a low-ticket community at $30 per month. It was a great offer. Templates, resources, community access, everything that you're supposed to include. But the result, it was stuck at $2,000 in MRR, monthly recurring revenue. Now, we had 100,000 people in the audience and couldn't even get 100 of them to pay $30 per month. So do the math. That's literally a 0.1% conversion rate out of those 100,000 people. 99,900 people said no to $30. So the truth is, if you try to launch a low-ticket info product right now with a broke audience, you'll probably fail too. Not because your offer is bad and not because your audience doesn't like you, but because the entire strategy is fundamentally flawed for the current market. So if you're sitting in an audience of 10,000, 50,000, or over 100,000 people and you can't figure out how to monetize it, this is exactly why. It's because you've been following a playbook that already stopped working. Now, if you're a creator with a big audience, no clear way to monetize, whether it's broke, young, low quality, or whatever, we help people solve that exact problem. We've worked with creators across niches like gaming, video editing, trading, Telegram channel monetizations. So we help you figure out what actually converts with your specific audience and how to position what that offer and how it actually works. Now, the link is down below in the description to book a call where we'll map out your exact monetization strategy, what to launch, who to target, and how to rebuild your audience while actually making money. And I'm telling you, this is not a pitch, it's just a breakdown of what would actually work for your situation, the same way we do it in these YouTube videos. But let me show you the strategy first so you understand what we're actually talking about here. The paradigm change. Here's what's actually happening in the info space right now. The market is shifting from quick, cheap solutions to personalized, expensive help tailored to the individual. Now, the old market, we can see information has value, $27 courses, volume sales, and it's a dying model. But if we look at the new market, Personalization has value. $3,000 to $10,000 coaching. High ticket. It's the winning model. Meanwhile, the $27 course creators are stuck at $2,000 to $5,000 per month, wondering why their scalable offers don't scale. Because information at the end of the day is free now. You can learn anything and everything on YouTube for free. Cheap courses don't solve the real problems anymore. People don't need more information. They need a personalized implementation that is going to help them. Because the value isn't in the information. It's in the customization, the accountability, and the direct access, and the personalized path they get from the creator. That's what these people are going to pay for. So when you try to sell a $27 course to a broke audience, you're competing with free YouTube tutorials and cheap courses that are everywhere else. And you have absolutely no differentiation, no value proposition, and no reason for them to buy from you specifically. But when you sell high ticket, personalized help, you're in a completely different market. One where price isn't the main objective, but the value is. Now here's the actual strategy. If a low ticket doesn't work for broke audiences and high ticket seems impossible because they're broke, what do you actually do? That's the question that people tend to ask. What you do is you target the 1% who aren't broke. You rebuild their audience around them and you monetize while you rebuild and not after. Now let me walk you through this exact process step by step, because this is exactly what we did with our current creator we're scaling and exactly what we teach our other clients to do. Step one is targeting that 1% that I just talked about. Even if 99% of your audience is broke, that means the 1% isn't. And 1% of 10,000 people is 100 people. 1% of 100,000 people is 1,000 people. An audience of 100,000 people with a 1% conversion rate is a 1,000 people that are potential buyers. Now, if we get 10 of those people and turn them into buyers, multiply that by $3,000, that becomes $30,000. And then 50 buyers multiplied by $2,000 is $100,000. So the whole point is you don't need the 99%. You just need that 1%, because most creators are terrified of alienating their audience by launching something expensive. So they price everything for the broke majority and wonder why nobody fucking buys. But the reality is the broke 99% weren't ever trying to buy your $27 course anyway. You're not alienating them. They were never going to be your customers to begin with. They are just your audience, and they are not and will never be your buyers. So you have permission to ignore the 99% and focus on the 1%. In fact, you should be doing that, because that's where all the revenue literally lies. So you have to start positioning your content and offers towards the 1% who can actually afford the high ticket mentorships. And not in an obvious this isn't for broke people way, but by speaking to their specific problems, goals, and situations. For example, if you're a fitness creator that's literally watching this video right now, instead of making content and positioning your offer in a way of how to get abs with no equipment, because that is just going to target the broke teenagers, start thinking like this of how to optimizing your physique while running a business. Right now, you're targeting the 1% who actually already have the money. Now for step two, you have to study the 1%, because while you're selling to the 1%, you're also studying everything about them, their pain points, their objections, their beliefs, and their language, and also their goals, because this data becomes your content strategy. You're not guessing what the high value audience wants. You're literally hearing it from them directly because they are paying you. Every sales call, every DM conversation, every client interaction gives you ammunition for your content. For example, they say, I'm struggling with X problem. That becomes your next video topic, and therefore that will attract more people with that exact fucking problem. Your content stops being generic how-to videos for everyone and starts being laser-focused solutions for the 1% who actually want to buy. This attracts more of the 1%. They see your content and think, this person understands my exact situation, and that's when they fucking want to buy. So then what you're left with is the compounding system, because you monetize the 1%, then you study their data, create bottom-of-funnel content around that data, and attract more people from that 1%. And finally, you repeat this process, creating the compounding system. You're not going to be waiting to build an audience and then monetize. You're monetizing literally right now, using that to inform your content, which attracts more buyers and gives you more data, which makes your content better, creating this compounding loop. Now, finally, step three is when you rebuild while monetizing. Most people think you first build an audience and then you monetize, but that's just totally backwards and it takes forever. The correct sequence is starting to monetize right now the 1%, using their data to rebuild your content strategy and attracting more of the 1% and monetizing them. And finally, repeating the entire process, forming the cycle. So let's say you have 10,000 followers, 99% are broke, you launch a $2,000 offer. Now in month one, chances are 5 people will buy, equating to $10,000. Month two, 8 people buy, equaling to $16,000 with used feedback to improve your content. And then month three, you have 12 people that buy, which is $24,000. You're attracting more of the right audience to your content. Meanwhile, the guy waiting to build to 100,000 followers first is still at $0 because he hasn't launched anything yet. When you're actively working with clients and getting them results, and your content literally has authority, you're not theorizing, you're showing your real case studies, real problems you've solved, and real transformations. The authority attracts more of the right people because it's a total flywheel. Now, over 3 to 6 months, your audience composition completely changes. The broke people who only wanted free content slowly leave or stay quiet, and the high value people who want to buy become your core audience. You're not going to be waiting for the shift, you're causing it through your content and the way you position your offer and what you say in your content. Now, here's how the next part kind of splits up from step 3 and leading on to step 4. You then have the audience purge, and that's where you need and what you need to prepare for. When you make the shift, some people are going to get mad, and there's going to be 3 segments of people who are actually going to get mad at you for what you're doing with your content. Now, the segment 1 is the haters. There will be people who call you a sellout, who comment, you've changed, or this used to be free. These people were never going to buy anything from you anyway. They just wanted free entertainment for the rest of their lives. So those guys, you can just let them leave your content ecosystem, to be honest. Now, segment 2 is the entitled people. There will be people who get genuinely upset that you're selling something that they cannot afford, and they'll say that you're abandoning your audience or only care about money. Now, these people honestly have a scarcity mindset. They think that you owe them free content forever, but at the end of the day, you don't owe anybody anything, especially when it comes to your content. So those guys, you can again just let them go. And now segment 3 is the loyal people. And there will be people who cannot afford your offer but stick around anyway because they value your content and understand that you're running a business. Now, these people might buy later when they can afford it, or they might never buy but still engage with your content and boost the algorithm. So either way, they're never going to be a problem for you. So you need to be okay with this purge, because your goal isn't to have the biggest audience, it's to have the most valuable audience out there. 100 people who will buy a $3,000 offer is better than 100,000 people who will not even dare to look at a $27 course. So you have permission to let the wrong people leave, and in fact, you should encourage it. A smaller high value audience is indefinitely more valuable than a massive broke audience. Now, the next part of step 3 that you have to follow is the content strategy. And the question that you're going to ask yourself is, what type of content do you actually post to attract that 1% and filter out the 99% of people? And the answer is boring content. The same video that you're watching right now. Truth is, the only people that are going to be watching my videos are the people that want to actually get some value, learn something, and book a call to actually monetize their strategy and get that roadmap that we are actually talking about. So most creators optimize for entertainment because they don't want maximum amount of views and engagement. They post funny videos, trending sounds, viral formats, everything that everybody tells you about in virality, which is fair enough, but you don't need to focus on that at all, because that content attracts people who want entertainment and not solutions. Entertainment seekers are never going to buy, only solution seekers will. If you don't already know what BOF stands for, it stands for bottom of funnel, that I mentioned a little bit earlier in this video. It's content that's specific, tactical, and solution focused. It's not designed to go viral, it's literally designed to attract buyers. For example, one title can be how we closed $10,000 in week 1 with this exact DM framework. Example 2 is this retention graph analysis that 10x our views. Example 3, why your $27 course isn't selling and how to fix that problem. Thing is, boring content repels the wrong people. They see a 12-minute video about retention graphs and they scroll because they're not interested in the actual solutions. They just want quick and actionable tips, but at the end of the day, quick, actionable does not relate whatsoever. But the 1% who are serious, they watch the entire video, they take notes, they DM you, and they book the calls because they prioritize solutions over entertainment. Now, we'd rather have 5,000 views from serious leads than 100,000 views from people who just want free entertainment. Like, for example, with this creator that we worked with. As you can see, yes, we did get a shit ton of views, but those views translated into cash because we tailored our videos to the exact way that we needed them, as you can see here. Again, you can pause the video and go back to the screenshots if you actually want to take a closer look. So at the end of the day, what you have to focus on and what you have to turn your content strategy into is not to try and go viral, but starting to attract that 1%. Make content so specific and solution focused that only serious people will want to watch it. And yes, your views might drop initially, and yes, your engagement might decrease, but your revenue will increase because you're attracting buyers and not viewers. Now, finally, we can jump to step 4 after you completed the entire content strategy step. And step 4 is consistency, because once you've made the shift, targeting the 1%, studying them, rebuilding your content, filtering your audience, the rest is simply just consistency. Posting the bottom of funnel content regularly and weekly at minimum, daily if you even can, and every piece of content is an opportunity to attract other buyers. You have to track what works, ask yourself the questions: which topic gets DMs, which video leads to calls, which content converts, and double down on those things, because you're literally getting the data from YouTube, from your pipeline, however it is set up. So you have to double down on those things. Otherwise, you're going to be throwing things in the air with them landing absolutely nowhere. So for example, month 1, you get $5,000 from a handful of clients. Month 3, you get $15,000 because content attracts more of the right people. And then month 6, you're $30, $50, $100,000 a month because your audience is rebuilt around buyers. Now, this isn't a quick hack. It takes 3 to 6 months to fully rebuild your audience, but you're making money the entire time, not waiting until some figure date to actually launch. Now, compare that to the guy who's still trying to get 100,000 followers before even launching anything. He's at $0 for 12 months while you've already made $50,000 to $100,000 or even more in the exact same time frame. So after all of this, let me recap exactly what we've talked about and the entire strategy. The conventional advice is to launch a low-ticket products for broke audiences, and to be honest, that just does not work anymore. The market has fully shifted to high-ticket personalized help. The real strategy that you have to be focusing on is targeting the 1% of your audience who can afford high-ticket products, selling to them instantly, study their pain points, objections, and language, use that data to create bottom-of-funnel content that attracts more of the 1% of people, and then your audience rebuilds over 3 to 6 months while you're making more money. The broke 99% filter themselves out, the high value 1% becomes your core, and you're monetizing while rebuilding and not waiting to monetize after building. This is exactly how we did over $10,000 in week 1 without even publicly launching an offer to a broke Gen Z audience. And now we're on track to make over $50,000 with this same launch. And this is how we help clients with 100,000 plus or even more followers finally monetize. This is the real fucking system. Again, more screenshots here if you want to pause the video and take a closer look on them. I'm not going to show you in detail. And that's just like the scene from the movie The Matrix, which I'm sure every single person has watched. You have to choose between the 2 pills right now. The blue pill is keep waiting to build your audience bigger before actually launching. Keep making free content, hoping someday you will have enough people that will buy from you, and try to make low-ticket courses work. The result is going to be you being stuck at $0 to $2,000 per month, or being stuck at the number you are right now, or even dropping that every single month. Now, the red pill is start targeting the 1% today. Launch high ticket, monetize right fucking now, rebuild your audience around the buyers while making your money. And the result is $50,000 to $100,000 or even more $1,000 a month in 3 to 6 months. Because at the end of the day, one path is hope and one path is strategy. And let's be honest, after watching this video, you already know which one works. So for creators with audiences, if you're a creator of an existing audience, 10, 50,000, 100,000 followers, and you have no clear monetization strategy, book a call. The link will be down in the description below. We'll map out exactly what to launch, who to target in your audience, and how to position your offer, and what content to create to attract more of the buyers that you need. Because we've done this for gaming creators, video editors, trading coaches, and creators in other uncommon industries, like I mentioned before, Telegram monetizations. So we know how to monetize audiences everyone else says are too broke or the wrong demographic. Again, here you go. You can look at some of the screenshots over here. Now, for people without an audience, if you don't have an audience yet, but you have literally any fucking skill, anything that you can think of that you're good at, we will help you build the monetization strategy first and then the audience around it. And that's expertise arbitrage. It's the exact same link, so you can book the call where we'll show you the path from zero audience to 20, 50, $100,000 per month in 3 to 6 months. And as you can see, the call will look like this. So ultimately, we'll show you what would work for your specific situation, whether you have an audience or not, and whether they're broke or not. So you can finally stop guessing, stop following generic advice, and actually finally get a fucking custom plan for your offer. And like I said, the link will be down in the description to book that call.